A very good morning to all of you. Today we are going to start with the chapter number 1, nutrition in plant. Nutrition is basically a process in which the food is taken up by an organism and utilized by its body to provide energy to do work. Here we are talking about the plants. In plants, how the food provide energy and what are the different processes and the mode of nutrition are present in the plants we are going to discuss in this chapter. Let us start with nutrition in plants. We know that organisms need energy to live and grow, and energy we get from food. So basically, what is a food? Food is a substance that is broken down by the different chemical process in our body which gives energy to do work. Hence, the process in which the food is broken down by an organism and used by the body of an organism to do the different work and to provide the energy to do work, that process is known as nutrition. On the basis of the nutrition, there are two modes. One is the autotrophic and another is the heterotrophic. Auto means self and trophic means to synthesize, to put together. It means that trophic in this the nutrition is done by the organism themselves. In this, the organism make their own food by the process known as photosynthesis. Again, the photosynthesis is made up of two words. Photo means light and synthesis means to make food. It means that here the organism is going to make food in the presence of sunlight plus CO2 plus H2O and chlorophyll. The organism which choose you the autotrophic nutrition are known as autotrophs. As we know that green plants are called producers, hence they show you the autotrophic mode of nutrition. They show you the autotrophic mode of nutrition because of the process known as photosynthesis. This term photosynthesis is coined by the Sir Charles in 1893. We know that there are four main requirements that is required by a plant to make food. One is carbon dioxide, second is sunlight, third is water, and fourth is chlorophyll. Let us discuss about the reaction. When carbon dioxide react with water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, it forms the sugar and releases the oxygen. Sugar means here it can be a food, it can be glucose, or you can write as a starch as well. So photosynthesis is basically a process in which the light energy of the sun is converted with the help of water, carbon dioxide and chlorophyll into sugar and oxygen. You can learn this definition as well. So what are the basic four conditions for the photosynthesis? Is the presence of the green pigment called chlorophyll, presence of the light, the presence of CO2 and the presence of water. Chlorophyll is basically present in a leaf in a special structure known as chloroplast. The light, basically the sunlight, is absorbed by the plant by the chlorophyll present in the plant. Chlorophyll is present in chloroplast, so indirectly chloroplast is absorbing the sunlight. Next is carbon dioxide. We know that the plant take the atmospheric carbon dioxide by opening and closing of stomata. Stomata is regulated by the two guard cells. These guard cells are surrounded by the number of cells. When these cells has to open the pore, they take the water from the surrounded cell and swells up. The pore get open and the exchange of gases take place. Whereas when these pore has to be closed, they give water back to the surrounded cells and the guard cells get shrink and the pore get closed. Like this, opening and closing of stomata occur. Next is water. Water is a very main important component which is required by the plant for the photosynthesis. As we know that root is the main part of a plant which absorb the water and the minerals from the soil. Hence, root is consist of two main parts. One is the primary root and second is the secondary root. There are number of root hair present on the secondary root which increases the surface area of the root so that the plant can absorb more and more water and nutrient that is required by the plant for the process known as photosynthesis. Plant basically has two tissues. One is xylem and second is a phloem. Xylem is basically a vascular tissue which helps in the transportation of water and mineral in the plant. And phloem is also a vascular tissue which helps in the transportation of food in the plant, which is known as translocation. Xylem helps in the process of transpiration. Phloem help in the process of translocation. Heterotrophic nutrition. Hetero means other and trophic means nutrition. It means that here the nutrition, the process of nutrition is done by the other organism. It means that the organism is not able to make its own food. Thus, that organism is depend upon another organism for food. That type of nutrition is known as heterotrophic nutrition. The organisms that shows you the heterotrophic mode of nutrition are known as heterotrophs, just like the autotrophs. Heterotrophic plants are basically those plants which are not able to do the process of photosynthesis because of lack of chlorophyll, or sometimes they do the process of photosynthesis but the amount of photosynthesis is not sufficient so that they can fulfill their nutritional requirement. Thus, they depend upon another plant for extra water, mineral and nutrients. There are four types of heterotrophic plants. One is the parasitic, second is the saprophytic, third is the insectivorous, fourth is the symbiotic plant. Let us discuss with the parasitic plant. Parasitic plants are those plants that are partially or completely depend upon the another plant for the food. That another plant is basically known as host. We have done this in the class 6 that the parasitic plant has a specialized root or modified root known as parasitic roots that penetrate inside the body of the host and helps the parasitic plant to absorb water, mineral and food from the host. Parasitic plant may or may not kill the organism, the host basically, because it is totally depend or partially depend upon the host for the food. Some example is a cuscata or mosquito. Cuscata has a basically short root and long thread-like stem which is surrounded around the plant and helps in the taking the nutrition. In the parasitic relationship, the parasite plant basically benefits itself, whereas the host plant shows you the negative impact because it retard or slow down the growth of that host plant. So it shows you the plus minus relationship. Next is the saprophytic plant. Saprophytic plant are that type of plant that derive their nutrient or nutrition from the dead remaining part of plant and animals. Here the saprophytic plant is benefiting by taking the food, whereas the dead remaining part of plant and animal is also benefiting as the environment is going to clean by the dead bodies of plant and animal. Thus, this type of nutrition shows you plus relationship. Example is the Indian pipe or the coral root. Basically, these type of saprophytic plant are basically colorless or white in color, or sometimes they have a beautiful color also in some cases, but the leaves are absent as they do not need to do the process of photosynthesis. That's why they do not have leaves. Fungi is also found in the roots of the saprophytic plant, which basically convert the dead remaining part of the plant and animal and used by the food by these plants. Thus, the fungi is also known as saprotrophs. Next is the insectivorous plant. These are those plants which derive their some or most of their nutrients by trapping and killing the insects. They basically grow in that type of soil which is deficient in different type of nutrient, mainly in the nitrogen. That's why these plant has to kill the different type of insects so that they can fulfill the requirement of the nitrogen in their body. Some examples are Venus flytrap, pitcher plant, sundew or bladderwort. Venus flytrap have a modified leaf which trap the insect and it shut down less than the second and digests the insect after it kills the insect. Just like in the pitcher plant, it has a tubular body and a lid above. When the insect goes inside the tubular body to suck the nectar, the lid gets closed and due to the suffocation or the lack of the oxygen, the insect die in that, and it has the digestive juices at the bottom of the tubular structure which help in the digestion of that dead body of insect, and from here the pitcher plant takes the nitrogen from the insect's body. Sundew plant has a long tentacles. You can see this red color tentacles which having a drop of a special sticky substance known as the mucilage, and this mucilage makes the insect to stick to the plant, which makes that insect unable to escape and thus digested by the plant for the nitrogen. Next is the symbiotic plants. These association is plus relationship in which both the plants basically benefit each other, and thus this type of relationship is known as symbiosis relationship. Lichens show you the symbiotic association between the fungus and alga. As alga is green in color and able to do the process of photosynthesis, it provides food to the fungi, and in return the fungi protect the alga in the harsh condition when alga is not able to survive. So they are mutually benefiting each other. Next is the replenishment of the nutrient in the soil. Replenishment means to fill up again. If we are taking the nutrient from the soil, we have to add the nutrient in the soil so that the plant can grow again on that soil. That's why we add manure and fertilizer artificially, which are basically use of the chemical or by the natural fertilizers, so that we can replenish the amount of the nitrogen, phosphorus or potassium inside the soil. The symbiotic association is also shown up by the rhizobium, which is a type of a bacteria found in the roots of the leguminous plant such as the pea plant. The rhizobium bacteria convert the atmospheric nitrogen into the soluble nitrogen and gives the leguminous plant the nitrogen. In return, the leguminous plant is able to do the process of photosynthesis and provide food to the rhizobium bacteria along with the shelter. So, the symbiotic association is also shown by the rhizobium bacteria and the leguminous plant. As we know that when any body of plant and animal die, their body get decomposed and all the nutrient get mixed with the soil. Hence, whatever we are taking from the nature at the end of the life, we are giving back to the nature by the decomposition of our body. That's why it is considered as the replenishment of the nutrient inside the soil, or we can call it as a nutrient cycle. Thank you and have a nice day.